By the end of the 11th century, the world stood at a crossroads. The Byzantine Empire, once the mightiest Christian power on earth, was crumbling under the relentless advance of the Seljuk Turks. Ancient pilgrimage routes to Jerusalem, sacred to millions of Christians, had become treacherous and in many places impossible. In the east, a new Islamic power was rising. In the west, a fractured Europe simmered with restless nights and religious fervor. The stage was set for 2 centuries of holy war, unlike anything the world had ever seen. In November 1095, Pope Urban II stood before a vast crowd at Clermont, in the heart of France, and delivered one of the most consequential speeches in human history. He called upon the knights of Christendom to take up arms, to march east, to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim rule, and to aid their Christian brothers in Byzantium. The crowd's response was thunderous. Deus vult, they cried. God wills it. Thousands sewed red crosses onto their tunics and pledged their lives to the cause. But before the great armies of Europe could organize, a ragged wave of peasants and minor knights set out ahead of them, led by a wandering preacher named Peter the Hermit. Tens of thousands marched east with more faith than food, more zeal than weapons. They plundered their way through the Balkans, clashed with Byzantine forces, and finally crossed into Anatolia, where the Seljuk Turks were waiting. The People's Crusade was annihilated. Of the tens of thousands who set out, almost none returned. The true military campaign began in 1096. 4 great armies, led by the most powerful lords of France, Normandy, and southern Italy, converged on Constantinople and then pushed deep into Seljuk territory. Nicaea fell, then Antioch after a brutal 7-month siege, and finally, on the 15th of July, 1099, the Crusaders breached the walls of Jerusalem. After nearly 3 years of marching, starving, and dying, they had reached their goal. The city fell in a storm of violence. For the Crusaders, it was a miracle. For its inhabitants, it was a catastrophe. The Crusaders did not go home. Instead, they carved out 4 states in the heart of the Muslim world: the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the Principality of Antioch, the County of Edessa, and the County of Tripoli. For nearly 2 centuries, these fragile Christian kingdoms clung to existence, defended by warrior monks, the Knights Templar and the Knights Hospitaller, and sustained by a constant trickle of reinforcements from Europe. They were islands of Christendom in a sea of Islam, and they knew it. Then came Saladin. Born in Tikrit, risen to power through brilliance and ambition, Saladin united the fractured Muslim world under a single banner and turned his gaze toward Jerusalem. At the Battle of Hattin in 1187, he destroyed the Crusader army in a single, devastating afternoon. Jerusalem fell shortly after, taken back nearly 90 years after the First Crusade had seized it. Europe was stunned. Kings and emperors answered the call. Richard I of England, Philip of France, and Frederick Barbarossa of the Holy Roman Empire launched the Third Crusade. Richard and Saladin, 2 of history's greatest commanders, fought each other to a standstill. Jerusalem remained in Muslim hands. A truce allowed Christian pilgrims to visit in peace. It was the best either side could claim. The later Crusades grew increasingly desperate and increasingly strange. The Fourth Crusade never reached the Holy Land at all. Diverted by Venetian merchants, it sacked Constantinople, the greatest Christian city in the world, in 1204. A crusade of children set out and ended in tragedy and slavery. Diplomatic crusades won Jerusalem back briefly through negotiation, but the tide was turning. One by one, the Crusader states fell, and in 1291, The last great stronghold, the port city of Acre, was overwhelmed by the Mamluk Sultanate. The survivors fled by sea. The crusading era was over. The Crusades left a mark on the world that has never fully faded. They accelerated trade between East and West, spreading spices, silks, and ideas across continents. They gave rise to banking, to military orders that still exist today, and to a tradition of religious warfare that would echo through the centuries. They deepened the schism between Christianity and Islam, and between Catholic and Orthodox Christianity. And they transformed Jerusalem, a city holy to three faiths, into a symbol of conflict as much as devotion. Nearly 1,000 years later, the Crusades remain one of history's most debated, most consequential, and most haunting chapters.
For more history, click subscribe and the bell icon for our multiple weekly releases.